Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Donald Trump's presidency has introduced a shift from supporting Ukraine's total restoration of territory towards encouraging a ceasefire at current lines, even if it means significant losses for Ukraine. Trump's peace plan concept aims to freeze the war rather than end it, trading formal recognition and accountability for immediate stability and economic opportunity. For Trump, territory held by Russia would remain with Russia and Ukraine would cease active efforts to reclaim it.
3, 2, 1.
Trump's pressure primarily takes the form of linking US aid and weapons to Ukraine's willingness to negotiate. He has declined to send key long-range weapons like Tomahawk cruise missiles on the grounds that Ukraine must stop pursuing expansive objectives or territorial reclamation.
President Putin wants to end the war?
Moreover, reports suggest Trump has asked Ukraine to cede territory, recognize Russian control over certain areas, and abandon NATO aspirations as part of a package for a ceasefire.
What do you think should happen with the Donbas region then?
Let it be cut the way it is. It's cut up right now. I think 78% of the land is already taken by Russia. You leave it the way it is right now. They can negotiate something later on down the line. But I said, cut and stop at the battle line, go home, stop fighting, stop killing people.
Trump has also used diplomatic signals, offering security guarantees only if Ukraine agrees to ceasefire terms, publicly casting Ukraine's leadership as resistant to peace. Ukraine has repeatedly rejected the idea of stopping the war with Russia while leaving occupied territories in Russian hands. Zelensky has insisted on full sovereignty and strong security guarantees before accepting any ceasefire. From Kiev's perspective, freezing the war without ensuring future security is risky. It could leave Russia with a foothold, encourage further aggression, destabilize Ukrainian defense, and betray the principle of territorial integrity. European allies have a mixed response. On the one hand, many support a ceasefire in principle. On the other, they reject a formula that simply legitimizes large-scale Russian occupation. Some NATO members fear that pushing for a premature ceasefire will allow Russia to consolidate gains, rearm, and strike again later. A ceasefire means fewer US military resources, lower risk of escalation into a wider war, and the possibility of shifting responsibility to Europe and Ukraine. Trump has signaled interest in reopening dialogue with Russia. A settlement in Ukraine would ease US-Russia tensions and potentially lead to economic or diplomatic opportunities. Most importantly, after the Gaza deal, Trump may believe that ending or winding down the war gives him credit on the international stage, appealing to voters prioritizing domestic issues over foreign entanglements.
Mr. President, the meeting with Vladimir Putin is canceled or put on hold. Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send Tomahawks?
No, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. Again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much.
Donald Trump is slightly shifting to playing hardball with Russia. He has said he did not want a wasted meeting after a plan to have face-to-face talks with Putin in Budapest was shelved. The US president indicated that a key sticking point remained Moscow's refusal to cease fighting along the current front line. However, the big cards are still with Moscow. If Ukraine agrees to a ceasefire that freezes Russia's hold on occupied territories, it could be locked in a prolonged state of incomplete peace. If the US is seen to move away from robust support, the NATO framework's global legitimacy may start to erode. The war's power calculus will further tilt in Moscow's favor. A negotiated ceasefire under these conditions may set a precedent that aggression can be rewarded, undermining the post-Cold War status quo. It may encourage other powers to use force as a means of imposing changes in borders and then negotiating afterwards. In sum, President Donald Trump's approach to the war in Ukraine marks a significant pivot, from backing full Ukrainian recovery to pressing for an early ceasefire, even if that means frozen lines and Russian-held territory. He has exerted pressure on Ukraine through aid leverage, public diplomacy, and negotiating tactics. While his emphasis on ending violence and reducing US risk has merit, the strategy carries serious perils, undermining Ukraine's long-term security, legitimizing aggression, fracturing alliances, and weakening democratic norms. For Ukraine, depending on a ceasefire that may not deliver real security is a dangerous gamble.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.